would have been an hour here.
Yeah, it would have been too.
I took 30 seconds.
We're here to finally have the ceremony for Lydia Campbell's new headstone. It's been a long journey because, well, it started off kind of small and then it kept getting delayed because of weather and this trail wasn't groomed and this and that. And as the delays went on, it started getting bigger and bigger. So it was like, now, you know, we got a helicopter coming down and we got a big tent out there and a lot of people, which is good, but I think it was meant to be. So this is what it was supposed to be like it is here today. But it was certainly a journey. And the concern was that, like, some of the people that are originally from Mulligan are getting up there now, and I mean that's why we had a helicopter. We were able, because of Lisa's department, to be able to have the helicopter to bring some of the elders down that wouldn't be able to come down. But it was just getting a little bit anxious to get it over with, because we don't. I mean, not only them, I might not be here next year. Who knows? I mean, you don't know. So it's good to have it done finally, because it took a lot of work by a lot of people. And I said when I spoke, I had an idea, but I mean I didn't do the whole idea. There's a lot of people that came together and helped. And I asked some people, and some people asked, what can we do to help? And so we had a lot of help. And you know, it took quite a bit of work to finally get it done. But I'm happy that it's finally done. I'm real happy. Well, originally, the reason why I wanted a new headstone, or I wanted her to have a new headstone, was because I don't know what year it was. I came and I realized hers was broken off. And I said, you know, another 100 years is going to be down under the ground. It's going to be growing up, the trees, whatever. So I said, we need to try to do something now or I need to, while I'm here, because I don't know if the next generation of people is going to be interested in doing it. And when Lisa heard about it, like she said, you know, maybe we can do something, or her department, which they did. So I asked Scott Hughes, so I called to see about getting the headstone like her original one. And it was made in England, which is amazing, to bring it here. And we had a hard enough time bringing this one from Goose Bay. But so anyway, so that was out the question. So I wanted to try to find somebody locally. Scott Hughes, locally, was very good. And said he'll do it. And then I went to Inuki Glass. I got the words off the original, brought it to her, and she made it. And then Scott put it together, and then Pat Hibbs brought it down here. And it just happened. It was something like today. We said, I don't know how we're going to get this out. Like, it was me and him and Scott. And Gordy Blake and Mitchell was over by their cabin. I said, oh, thank goodness. So they came and they helped, and we got it out. So we just got it laid there. And then in the summertime, the fishery guys came and put it in place and stuff. So it was a lot of people just to get it here. And then this organization, like Them Days, did a lot with the food and stuff like that, and just putting it out there. And the Department of Labrador Affairs put it out there, and Them Days. And so yeah, so I'm really happy that the day has finally come.
We gather today with hearts filled with gratitude for the lives of our ancestors, those who came before us and paved the way to our present. We remember their strength, their wisdom, their resilience, and the enduring love they carry within their hearts. May we honor their memory by living lives that reflect their values, by upholding the tradition they cherish, and by carrying forward the lessons they taught us.
A couple of acknowledgements. So we're here today primarily because of the work of a couple of people. Mina Campbell obviously was a big chairperson, big supporter of this project, but also Minister Lisa Dempster, whose department is funding all of this and making all of this possible. So big hats off to Mina, big hats off to Lisa Dempster. When Them Days was asked to participate in this project, we absolutely leapt at the opportunity. people think of them days as merely a magazine, but what we are is more than that. We are also the guardian and the keeper of folklore and of stories and of histories and of all things which remind us of what makes Labrador such a special place. And we're really pleased to have even a small role in this project. So thank you to our staff people, Amy Chalk, for all the work that she's put in for the past couple of years. Them days started publishing in 1975, so 2025 marks 50 years. 50 years of doing the important work of making sure that our histories and our stories and our folklores and our anecdotes and our photos are not lost to the sands of time. So we are very pleased to be involved with this project. It really helps us fulfill our mandate of preserving all things Labrador, and the board of directors of Them Days is committed to making sure that Them Days exist far into the future, and hopefully someone other than myself will be here to welcome to make the 100-year anniversary 50 years hence. But thank you for everyone for coming out today. Thank you to everyone who helped make this possible. Thank you to our staffers, and thank you for your interest. And we look forward to bringing you more stories of Labrador, and we hope we can count on your continued support for Them Days. Thank you very much.
You must please excuse my writing and spelling, for I've never been to school. Neither have I a spelling book in my young days. Me, a native of this country, Labrador, Hamilton Inlet, Eskimo Bay. If you wish to know who I am old Lydia Campbell, formerly Lydia Brooks, then Lydia Blake, after Blake, now Campbell. So you see, ups and downs has been my life all through, and I am what I am. Praise the Lord. Mulligan River, December 25th, 1893. Christmas Day. As this is a holy day for us, the Campbells and the Blakes, my family, I think it's nice time to write a few lines. A beginning of this winter. I've been all busy this fall, in particular, for I has a lot to do with 3 little motherless granddaughters to work for, besides their poor father and a big son. Going off hunting and wood chopping, and the weather's so cold as to need all the warm clothing possible to warm them. The weather, 30 below zero. And myself off to my rabbit snares, about 4 miles going and coming, over ice and snow, with snowshoes, axe and game bag. Some days I has 3 rabbits in one day, caught in snares, for I has about 24 snares made myself. I set 'em up. And I gets pretty tired some days. Often the snow is deep and soft, just about 3 feet deep now, in the woods, 3 feet deep in the woods. But it can't be expected otherwise for me to get tired, for I'm now, my last birthday, 75 years old. Last month, the 1st of November. I have seen many ups and downs, but the good Lord has brought me through them. I have been bereaved my first husband and 4 of his children. One has left me, Thomas Blake. It is his little children that I look to now. The present husband that I has is nearly as old as me. We has 3 children left out of 8, 2 boys and a girl. They all has family to look to. We have been meeting sometimes, and when our large river freezes over hard enough to go on, then comes the time for trouting, we calls it. And most of our granddaughters and grandsons, they come here to trout. Our family, John Campbell, his children comes along the shore, about 4 miles he lives from here. And my oldest son, Thomas Blake, my first husband's son, and his little motherless children is near us next door. None near us but them and our dear children's graves. We can see their headstones at a distance over on the cranberry banks. So pretty as it looks in the fall when we come home from our summer quarters about 70 miles from here. And here we are by Thomas Blake's and the motherless grandchildren's grave. Thank you.
Do this
All
together.
Grab a corner, George. Grab a corner, George.
Time to get up. Look, the clock's going off. Time to get up. Are we good?
Okay.
My fills is
We can do this. People are
beautiful. I'm usually not really stuck for words, but this is a very powerful day for me. And I can't make any apology for my emotion either. It's been a long time in the works. I cannot believe that I'm standing here today, my first trip to Mulligan, standing next to the resting spot of Lydia Campbell. I'm very humbled and proud to stand here today as the minister responsible for Labrador. Prouder to stand here as the MHA for Cartwright Lanceclair, but proudest to be here as a very proud descendant of Lydia Campbell. And it's been a couple of years in the making, and I'll try to be brief. Premier and I went to Northwest River to announce the reconciliation table. And while there, Mina's often posting things on social media, and I would see her going to Mulligan. And I grew up raised by Effie Campbell and Ben Powell, raised by my grandparents in a large family, and Lydia Campbell was a name that I heard so often, but I really didn't appreciate until I got older and I wanted to come back. And 3 times my dad attempted to take me, Lester Powell, known to many here, and the winds would come up and we'd have to go back home. And I said, Mina, I've not yet been to Mulligan. And that's how the idea was born. And it started with Mina saying, you're soon going to have to come because the tombstone is falling down. We're losing the history. And I said, we can't let that happen. And Mina said, maybe we should start a GoFundMe page or something. And I thought, that's just terrible. We can't do that. We have to step up. I have a full department here of Labrador Affairs. I said, Mina, if you can do the heavy lift, which I'm now learning she delegated that just speaks to how smart she is, we'll get the money. And then we needed a partner, and them days, thank you so much. So I just, before I start, and I don't even know really where I'm going to go over the next 5 minutes, but I do want to say, Mina, it means the world to me, everything that you've done in our partnership, and I think there was a reason it didn't go ahead last April. And them days, thank you so much for the work that you do in preserving our culture, our heritage, where we come from, and for partnering with us on. Apart from the birth of my 2 children, this day is up there with the best day that I have ever had in my life.
I hear people singing now.
Oh, I think it's the. I was just thinking it's the kind
This journey is very, very personal for me. It's become intimately personal, and there was a few tears shed last night and during the drive out here. Lydia Campbell, born at the turn of the century, about 130 years ago. And as was already mentioned, she had no formal schooling. She was born to an Inuit woman that we know as Susan and her dad, Ambrose Brooks. And her father taught her to read, and she taught herself to write. And the more I learned about her, the more I wanted to learn. There was something that was drawing me back. And so when a missionary came along, Lydia was 75 years old, and he said, here's an exercise book. Write about your life. And she started writing, and we are so much richer that she did. And because Lydia grew up in a time when men wrote about men, and no one taught to tell the woman's story, not even the women themselves. And so I've just been struck by her life, the life that she lived here. It couldn't have been an easy life. As we already know, she buried multiple children. Also, I was very, very touched that in her writings, she wasn't complaining about how hard things were. Her writings are filled with the good life they had hunting and fishing and trouting in the spring when the families would all come together, and the wonderful time they would have. Coming back in the fall, and she would mention the sun shining on those tombstones where their children was buried. And it almost seemed special to her that instead most of us would say, it's too difficult to be standing and living very close to a headstone of where your child is buried, but she seemed to embrace that as well. The other lesson I got from Lydia Campbell is how alive she was in nature, and the way that she wrote about nature. For me, I'm just so struck by the grit and determination of this remarkable woman. Confident and proud, her Labrador spirit continues to infuse and inspire her descendants every day. And in closing, I want to take a moment. No, mine have read that, so I'm going to skip that. Pardon me. But I want to say in closing that Lydia taught us the importance of connection, not only to our roots, but to each other. In our fast-paced world, her work reminds us to pause, listen, and embrace our shared narratives. Family, community, and tradition were central to her vision, and it is our duty to uphold and multiply those values in our daily lives.
They're why we're here. They're the people that lived the hard life, the culture, the hard life, the life that we still live to a certain degree. But they brought us to where we are. They made the path to where we are. They gave us, what do you call that? Like whatever's in you, to the resilience to be able to do things. We need to remember that they were the ones that had it a lot harder than we had it, and they did okay. And we need to remember those types of things from the people, from all of our ancestors, but especially the women. There's lots of things that I agree. The trappers had it hard, but the women were left home with their children, fending for their lives, having to feed them, do everything, tend to sick, do everything. And I think they did a lot more. And I think they were a lot stronger. And I think that needs to be passed on. Yeah.